Do you ever find yourself saying, "I'll do it tomorrow"? Have you felt the weight of unfinished dreams, waiting for the right time to begin? If so, you're not alone. Many of us struggle with procrastination, and sometimes, the hardest part is simply starting. But what if I told you the real secret to overcoming it lies in a single, small step? Let me tell you a story about a young man, and how he learned to break free from the chains of procrastination. In a bustling little town lived Elliot, a young artist with a head full of dreams and a heart full of hesitation. From a young age, Elliot wanted to create beautiful paintings that would inspire others. His sketchbooks were filled with ideas, but his canvas was always empty. Each morning, he'd wake up with the intention to paint, but by evening, he'd convince himself that tomorrow would be a better day to start. Day after day, Elliot's dreams of becoming a successful artist felt further and further away. He would sit in his room, staring at the blank canvas, wondering why he couldn't just pick up the brush. He began to feel ashamed, weighed down by self-doubt.
What if I'm not good enough?
He would whisper to himself.
What if I fail?
Weeks turned into months, and Elliot felt trapped in his own mind. No matter how much he wanted to start, something always held him back. One afternoon, as he sat outside on a park bench, lost in thought, an old man noticed him. He was well known in town for his wisdom and kind heart. His calm presence drew people in, and he always seemed to have the right words for anyone who needed them. Sitting beside Elliot, he smiled warmly.
You look troubled, young man. What's on your mind?
Elliot sighed deeply.
I want to be a great artist. I have so many ideas, but I can never start. I always tell myself I'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes.
The old man nodded, as if he had heard this story many times before.
Ah, procrastination.
He said softly.
It's a tricky thing, isn't it? It makes you believe you have all the time in the world, but slowly steals your dreams.
Elliot looked up at him, his curiosity piqued.
How do you fight it? How do you start when it feels like you're stuck?
With a thoughtful expression, the old man leaned back and looked at the sky.
Let me tell you a story.
He began.
There was once a man who wanted to climb a mountain. Every day, he would look at the peak and think about how far away it was. He felt overwhelmed just imagining the journey. But one day, someone told him a secret. The only way to climb a mountain is one step at a time. So instead of focusing on the peak, he focused on the next step, and then the next. Before he knew it, he was standing at the top.
Elliot listened closely, unsure where the story was leading.
Procrastination is like that mountain.
The old man continued.
You look at the whole task, and it feels impossible. But if you break it down, and take just one small step today, you'll be surprised how far you can go.
Elliot's heart stirred with hope, but doubts still lingered.
But what if I'm not good enough? What if I fail?
The old man smiled gently.
Failure is not the enemy, young man. It's fear that keeps you from trying. Success isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up, even when you're scared.
That night, Elliot decided to take the old man's advice. He stood in front of his blank canvas and told himself.
Just one stroke.
He dipped his brush into the paint and, with a shaky hand, made the first stroke on the canvas. It wasn't much, but it was a beginning. The next day, he painted another stroke. And then another. Each day, the fear that had once paralyzed him grew smaller, and the joy of creating returned. Elliot no longer focused on finishing a masterpiece in one day. He focused on showing up, doing what he could, and letting the process unfold. Weeks passed, and Elliot's canvas transformed into something beautiful. His once small, hesitant strokes became bold and confident. He realized that the key to success wasn't in waiting for the perfect moment, but in creating moments through action. One evening, Elliot found the old sitting in the park again. He showed him his finished painting, eyes gleaming with pride.
I did it,
Elliot said, a smile lighting up his face.
I didn't wait for tomorrow. I took action today.
The old man's eyes twinkled with approval.
And that, my friend, is how you defeat procrastination. You took the first step, and the mountain doesn't seem so high anymore, does it?
Moral of the story. 1. Take the first step today. Waiting for the perfect time can hold you back. The key to success lies in taking the first step, even if it's small. Each step brings you closer to your goal. 2. Progress over perfection. Don't fear failure, fear standing still. It's not about doing everything perfectly but about consistently moving forward, no matter how slow. 3. Action defeats fear. Fear of failure often fuels procrastination. But when you take action, even in the face of fear, you start to gain control over your future. Are you putting off something important in your life? Don't wait for tomorrow, start today. Remember, success is built one step at a time. Like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.